what's up? So last night, June 14th, was Botch's second to last show. I performed in Seattle at the Showbox with Caustic Wound and Mortiferum. So we're going to do a quick review, getting ready to go to their last show tonight. So yeah, Caustic Wound, really excited to see them. Seeing them, I mean, they weren't bad, but I don't know. I think the crowd had something to do with it because a lot of the crowd was there to see Botch and like Botch adjacent music, and Caustic Wound with some pretty aggressive grind. Not a lot going on the stage and everything, so didn't enjoy it quite as much as I thought I would. I'd like to see them again in a different setting. I think for me, and again, I was in the back this time, so wasn't up front. There wasn't a lot of action from the crowd. There's a little bit of moshing, but I don't know. And I think that while I want to see bands be successful, I think that the larger the venue, the harder it is for certain bands to kind of fill it. And again, not everybody's a performer, just because they're a musician. So nothing against them. I think for me, sound-wise, sonically, it was a pretty good show. But if I went to see them perform as opposed to play live, I think I would rate it a bit lower. But Mortiferum came on next, and again, I thought these were two really interesting choices for Botch. Botch is pretty high energy stuff, and while Caustic Wound was aggressive, grind, Mortiferum was slow and heavy, and their lights were dark and everything, so I enjoyed their sound quite a bit more. Again, it felt too kind of big in the venue. And there wasn't a lot going on stage for that either, but when you get into doom type stuff, it's how much can you really have on stage that makes sense. So definitely impressed with the vocals. Sonically, it was a terrific show. They sounded great, they played great. I think just for me personally, I think the setting would have done more. And again, the crowd didn't have a strong response, although they were more active, oddly enough, for Mortiferum than Caustic Wound. And a lot of the guys are in both bands. So it was a really interesting dynamic to see. I know, Botch is going to play with who they want, and I'm glad I got to see the bands. But I think for me, overall, a different setting would have gone much further with those bands. And I would definitely like to see them again. So that aside, Botch. Second to last night, I caught them on the second night of the reunion tour, and it was wild. Last night was just as wild, although not being up front, it felt entirely different. And I've been enjoying sitting back more for a lot of shows lately, not just for filming or whatever, but because it gives me more the perspective of viewing rather than participating in, right? Because you got crowd surfers and stage divers and the lights and the sound and all this, which I will be doing tonight. I will be up front tonight. I don't know if I'll catch any of their last set live. We'll see. I would like to, but so it was a great show though. Really high energy. You could definitely see emotions were starting to emerge. I imagine the band has had a blast doing this after so long not doing it. And they seem like guys are really passionate about what they do. But we'll see what tonight's like. So, I mean, I've only seen Botch twice. It was on the reunion, and it was great both times. Would have loved to have caught them in their prime because it must have been mayhem. But Botch put on, sonically great, performance-wise, a lot of action, the lighting, the smoke, all really, really good. And these guys know how to entertain a crowd, very funny. So yeah, it's a really good night overall. And I can't wait for tonight. So, until next time.